Well, a big happy birthday today to one Willie Nelson, 77 years of age, and like my Uncle Mickey said, 2 for $1. There must be medicinal purposes in marijuana that we don't know about.
Theoretically, now you're just doing it in each region instead of one. All you're allowed are 3 major teams, named for major conferences, to add that particular year to the banner hanging in the arena. That's all you're doing.
That's my Uncle Mickey. They're talking about the expansion of the NCAA tournament next year. Evidently they're going to 68 instead of 96 or whatever, and that's great. So let's talk about this Southeastern Conference expansion. A lot of PMs going around about it right now. Everybody voicing their opinion, who they would like, who they don't like, all that stuff. Now let's first address the Big Ten when talking about Southeastern Conference expansion. Why are we discussing Big Ten? Well, the Big Ten is considering going to 16 teams. They're looking at 5 teams. Nebraska, Missouri, Pittsburgh, Rutgers, and Syracuse. Why Rutgers, you say, and Syracuse? Well, obviously they want that New York TV market. Why Nebraska and Missouri? Well, you take Missouri, you've got the St. Louis market cornered. Nebraska, of course, you've got a big draw for every game, home and away. A traditional draw, a team that travels well, so on and so forth. What they're talking about initially is 4 4-team divisions. Now, how they would work that out at the end of the year as far as determining a champion, you know, I guess they would have to have a 3-game playoff between the 4 division winners. That, in my opinion, would be cool. The problem is, how many regular season games do you play then? Do you still play 12 regular season games? You do that, then you basically have whoever wins the conference tournament, so to speak, playing 15 games, counting their bowl game. I don't see a problem with that because they do it in 1AA, or whatever they're calling it this week. But that will be your major roadblock, stumbling block, whatever. So let's move on to the SEC. Suppose the SEC picks up 4 teams and goes to 16 teams. The 4 teams that are primarily being talked about are Miami, Florida State, Georgia Tech, and Clemson. 4 teams, in my opinion, that would be great adds to the SEC. They're all traditionally good teams. All of them, with the exception maybe of Georgia Tech, brings a little something to the table as far as a crowd. I know Miami doesn't have huge crowds at their home games. They have a national fan base that would flock to the SEC games if they were to join the SEC. Personally, my personal opinion, I'm not for expansion. But I also understand that in this cash cow market that we live in right now, if the Big Ten does it, the SEC is not going to want to be outdone. The SEC is not going to let themselves be outdone by anyone, especially the Big Ten. This is our frickin' game of football. The SEC owns it. The SEC is going to see to it that they continue to own it. And those of you who don't like it and hate hearing us talk about it, bada bing, bada boom, baby!
From high above my hotel room at the car show. Guys, as a sophomore member of the TTC, it is my duty to go over here and try and have a civil conversation with this young man.
You go to YouTube.
This is an Alabama fan right here.
Oh.
Do you watch YouTube videos?
Mm-hmm.
Have you ever seen any videos from Big E and Bama?
Big E and Bama. I don't pay attention to them that much, so that part of it.
So this year, do you think you guys will repeat?
Of course.
Honestly, is that your heart talking or your head?
Yeah, honestly, that's not. Matter of fact, it's not even in question.
What is it? Now remove yourself from being an Alabama fan. Look at this from an outsider's perspective. What is it about Alabama this year that gives them that special edge to repeat in this day and age?
The entire offense returns. McElroy will leave college football still undefeated. The kid don't make stupid mistakes. What did he throw? 4 interceptions last year. So I think he threw 4 last year. It was 4. I believe he threw 4 interceptions last year. But the reason that they'll repeat is because the offense returns and Nick Saban's defense is going to be what it is every year.
I was waiting for you to mention the defense because that's what won it for you guys last year.
Hightower comes back, and he's off of knee surgery. He is a beast, and
it's huge.
Well, I think they'll lose a couple of games this year.
No,
I guarantee it'll be games where he's trying to let his younger players
I think
learn
they'll
something.
lose. I think they'll lose one game they shouldn't lose.
If it's going to be one like that, it will be Penn State. Penn State coming in the second game of the year.
I think they'll wax Penn State.
Yeah, I think that they'll wax them.
Where are you guys from?
I'm from Gatlinburg.
Gatlinburg.
Yeah, but born and raised in South Carolina. But a lot of Tennessee fans think that Florida's Tennessee's biggest rivalry. It's not.
No, those are the young fans.
Right, the
People
young
like
fans.
me and you know that Alabama's the original. How'd you become a Bama fan?
That's all I've ever known from day one. Yeah.
Parents?
Oh yeah, Dad, and that's all I've ever known. I've never, growing up and going to school in Tennessee, high school and college, I went to, Carson Newman, a small school over here.
Oh yeah.
And
I'm surprised Ken Sparks hadn't got a job coaching a big school.
He's had his chances, yeah. Ken Sparks has. Great coach.
What's your name?
Eddie.
Eddie?
Yep. And what's your name?
Keith.
Good to meet you, Dave. Really is good to meet you.